Hello everybody and welcome back to another video on my channel. I'm really excited for you to tune in once again because in this video we're going to be doing something really special, and that is trying to learn Spanish in 3 months. So if you ever wanted to do this, or if you ever wanted to learn any language in 3 months, stick around in this video because this is what I'm going to be doing for the next 3 months. So in this video, I'm going to be showing you exactly my own plan and how you can follow along. So what I've done to help you all is to create a document and where I'll update it whenever I complete something new. Right now, it's an overview of everything I plan to do in the next 3 months. And you can follow along from the beginning or jump into whatever point in your Spanish journey you think you're currently at. What's important about this is I want to give you some transparency when it comes to language learning. I want you to go in there first of all with a set, clear plan to not get overwhelmed. And then we're going to be talking about on this channel the struggles of language learning. I'm going to give you some updates on my Spanish journey as well as on my TikTok and Instagram page as well. And as you can see from your screen at the moment, this is a 90-day Spanish challenge. I started it in March. We're roughly about a week into it now, but you can start it whenever time you want, really. As you can also see, it's sponsored by LingQ, and we'll get into that again throughout this video. But if you've never heard of this language learning app, then please check out my channel or the video linked up here. That will show you everything you need to know about LingQ, so you can really get started with a foot already in the door, so to speak. So there are currently already 201 participants in this challenge with me, and that's incredible to see. And I think a lot of you are from America because every single time I wake up, I'm always further down on this leaderboard than I was when I went to bed. I haven't hopped back onto LingQ to do some Spanish yet today, but as you can see, I'm currently ranked number 10 and a whopping 12,000 coins behind leader 1. So I'm very jealous of James Wilson. To dive back into actually what this challenge is going to be about and what you can expect to achieve if you follow along, I've set some goals out here. So the main thing is to learn as much Spanish as possible and get used to the LingQ app. But what we're going to be covering is in the beginning, greetings, goodbyes, other important phrases. We're going to improve our vocabulary, listening and reading comprehension skills as well. We're going to learn how to use LingQ to its fullest. And then obviously, if you're new to LingQ, discover this amazing method of learning languages. So I have got this document split up into different sections based on level-ish, at least in my own opinion. Once I go through this and figure out if these lessons are good or if I find more that are better, this will be updated as often as I can, really. I've got the learning outcomes from the lessons on the left-hand side. I've got some additional lessons and sometimes just some tasks. But essentially all you have to do is just click on the hyperlink and this will bring you over to LingQ. If you've already signed in on the web page, you should just get right into this course. As you can see, I have already completed it after 1 week. This course was amazing, really. It gave you such good basic skills in the beginning, and then about halfway through this course, you got really into more detailed Spanish conversations. It was incredibly well built. I felt like I was really progressing throughout the stories and throughout these lessons. So highly recommend this absolute beginner course. But that's basically what you're going to be doing here. So I've already completed the absolute beginner section, and as you can see, I have some tasks at the bottom. I already recorded myself speaking. I'm not going to play this here. I'm going to save that for a comparison video later on. But just so you're aware, I do think it's really important to record yourself early so that you have something to really base your progress on later. And next we're at the beginner section, and this is what I've actually just started. So I just started the Who is She, the European version. That's important because obviously if you're familiar with Spanish at all, you'll know that the European Spanish and the Latino American Spanish is different. I don't worry about it too much in the beginning. That's something I can develop later on, whether I want to choose one or the other. But in case you really wanted to pick earlier on, if there was options on LingQ between these two versions, I gave you that option on the document as well to choose from. So here we can see that this is our first little introduction now to a little bit more complicated Spanish, a little bit more of a dialogue, a story-based learning. So we have follow dialogues about a restaurant, which is the eating out version, or you have your first story about the Who is She available on LingQ. Next we have some Spanish patterns, and then we have our very first diálogos nivel A1, which is, again, as you probably could tell, it's dialogues at the A1 level. So right now we're probably confident enough to complete these without too much difficulty. As long as you repeat the lessons, learn the vocab, highlight some grammar phrases or some phrases that you think are important, and everything, again, LingQ related will be available in the video that I can't link again, I don't think, but will be in the description in case you didn't click on it earlier. So we also see some tasks, and if you're really confused about these tasks, shouldn't be, you can leave some comments down below, or look at the video, and if anything is not clear, then honestly just hit me up. I'd be more than happy to clarify anything at all. Next I have verbs, because obviously we want to talk and speak in Spanish and listen, read, everything in Spanish. So we're going to need some verbs. And I put these here in a separate task because jumping into these straight on is a bit boring, honestly. But in the previous 2 sections, you will have learned a lot of these already, or at least seen a lot of these already interpreted the sentences without really understanding what was going on. Here we really dive into it. We get into the actual lessons and courses which are designed to teach you certain verb tenses. So we have the present, the past, imperfect, and the future. So really basic skills to know in Spanish. I haven't gone to this section yet, but I will also be attempting to write a short text using these different verb tenses, because as we know is important, LingQ is all about input, but to really learn a language we need to let that settle and marinate a bit, but eventually let it back out again in the form of speech or written texts. And here we get into the heart of LingQ as a language learning program, because they've created and curated a list of mini stories. There's up to 60 of these mini stories per language. In Spanish there are 60, and they span such a range of vocab and grammar points that from the beginning all the way to the end, getting progressively harder, you will come out at the other side with a confident level in your Spanish learning. If you do it correctly, and if you follow me in my journey, I'll teach you how to do this, and we should at the end of this be at least an A1 or A2, sorry, in Spanish, at least an A2 in Spanish. If you don't know what these all numbers mean or these letter number combinations, check in the description and I will link you some information and some web pages for you to check out. Okay, so it gets quite intense at the end here, this beginner, upper beginner 2 section, because these texts have gotten longer. They're implementing more and more new things for us to really challenge us. So as I said, these mini stories are really important, but what's really neglected, I think, when learning languages is using your downtime. So this is something I'll talk about, and I've talked about before, but I will talk about again. It's using the time when you're not actively learning to still learn. Like, you can create playlists in LingQ, again, talked about in the video, but you can then play them wherever you are. So I play them on the way to the work on the U-Bahn in Germany, or the underground system. But honestly, commuting is such a waste of time otherwise. So that's why I really like to use it well, right? But you can also do it while you're cleaning the house, washing the dishes, etc., etc. But on the other side, we say un día en español. So a day in Spanish. So this is the first time we get to really experience a podcast episode per se. We get to experience these short podcast episodes that give us a chance to really test our Spanish in such I think it's maybe like a safe environment, because it's just about daily life. And it's something that A1, A2, B1 users and learners should be familiar with. At least they have a good amount of context, because we all know what we do in everyday life. So this is why I chose this one to put here. Then we have some tasks again, and then some additional lessons. And this is where you're kind of more free to do what you want. So I've selected 2 that I think are important. More will probably be added once I get further down in this document myself. But these short stories for beginners, I don't know if you know Ollie Richards, but he is an amazing language teacher or a language learner himself, but he's also created a series of books that you've probably seen before, short stories in X language. So that's what I've chosen here to do, because they're really nice stories. I've read them before in German, but they're very nice and I think they're useful. But the next one, we have a BBC World documentary about the bilingual brain. And as I said before here, or if you haven't read it already on the screen, because this is going to be basically you at this stage. At this stage, you can almost consider yourself bilingual. For the most part, you're getting there at least. And that's what I think this really helps with. It's this learning about what the bilingual brain is and how beneficial it is really a totally different side of motivation, really, right? It's not that you're really wanting to improve your Spanish because you want to speak to people, but it's also because it's healthy. So this is all I have prepared for you so far. Again, as I said, this document will be updated for as long as I learn Spanish. Don't hold me to that, but it's going to be updated for a good while. So even if you're not seeing this video during this challenge period, but you still want to jump in, Link creates these challenges at the start of every month, if I'm not mistaken. So because you missed the start of March, you can then join at the start of April and still have this 3-month Spanish journey completed before before summer, sorry. And if you still haven't clicked the video about Link, I have included it at the bottom of this document as well. So this is the end of this video. It's more of an announcement video, because if you want to really follow along this journey with me, please check my links in the description for my other socials. I share a lot of this on TikTok, and the major milestones and any other major events in my Spanish learning journey will be shared here on YouTube. However, if you would like to see a little bit more detail of how I'm using Link to learn Spanish, or the difficulties I'm feeling learning Spanish, or how to choose between European and Latin American Spanish, leave them in the comments and I can consider making another video around Spanish topic sooner, before my next scheduled one after 30 days of learning Spanish. I say this in almost every video, but it really does help. If you haven't subscribed already, I would really appreciate it, you clicking that button below. It helps a lot more than you probably realize. Along with that, if you like this video, please let me know by leaving a like, or let me know in the comments what you would like to see or what you enjoyed about this video. Again, to summarize it, this is my 3-month language challenge. I'm trying to be as transparent as possible to help you guys with your own journey, because I know it's stressful and I know there's a lot to think about. So I'm hoping that I can take some of that load off you so you can really just enjoy this experience. With that being said, I hope you really enjoyed, and until next time, adios.